Morning. It's morning here in Pennsylvania. It is snowing here in Pennsylvania. I want to talk about a thrash band that nobody talks about. Because they're kind of new. But it's intense and sick and fast and powerful. So let's talk about it. Good morning. It is morning here in Pennsylvania. As you saw, it was snowing here in Pennsylvania this morning. Yeah. Anyway, how have you all been? I have been well. I'm on vacation. Got to go back to work in a few days, but not bad. Today I want to talk about a band that I think should be discussed more, and I don't see them discussed very often. The band Enforced from Virginia. Now, in this channel, we usually talk about very underground stuff or a little bit more obscure death metal or black metal or whatever. This band is signed to Century Media, and I think due to it being them being signed to a slightly bigger label, inadvertently get overlooked. The reason why I want to talk about them is because I've gotten a visceral ass reaction from this band for the last couple of years. If you remember early Sepultura, I don't mean super early, I don't mean Bestial Devastation and stuff like that, but, Beneath the Remains, Arise. I've heard these guys in Enforced talk about Demolition Hammer. They're a little bit younger, obviously, than I am, but take 20 years off or so. But anyway, they have 3 full lengths and an EP out. And the first one, to me, it's the same music, but it has a little bit more of a hardcore feel to it, even though it's in the thrash metal genre. I really got into them when I heard Kill Grid, and it was pretty organic the way it happened. I just don't have another word. In that, they came into my rotation recommendation, and I kind of would blow it off because I'm like, oh, okay, it's nothing against this, and I'm going to sound like a curmudgeon, but I kind of like a Power Trip clone or something, a rehashed thrash band we don't need. Whatever. Far from the case. So the song, I forget which single it was that was off of Kill Grid. It wasn't The Doctrine. USO or something like that. Anyway. UXO. Yeah, that song was a single and it would come into my feed, and it's very Slayer too. A lot of Slayer in there. It's hard to put a good thrash metal album out. You don't have a lot of Slayer. Okay, that was weird. My Alexa started playing Summerlin's on itself. So I have a ghost in the house, which is awesome. Great. Anyway, yeah. So back before I was interrupted by my Alexa playing Summerlin's, we were talking about Enforced. So the song UXO came into my feed a lot, and that, again, had a lot of Slayer stuff in it. And I was like, it grew on me. And then I started, fishing through other tracks, and I was like, okay, this is brutal as hell and catchy at the same time. Vicious riffs. I'm not going to say that you heard something you've never heard before. It's just done really well. Um, yeah, they have I really like the drummer Alex a lot. And I don't mean to say like I've watched him grow. I don't mean it like that. I just mean the guy's, um, he's very powerful. He's an acoustic drummer, meaning like you could take the guy, he doesn't need to be mic'd. You could put him in a garage and the band can play. I watched them set up, it's Marshalls. The acoustic volume is great. You can stand in front of the stage and hear what the band sounds like. Um, Not everything's through Kempers and there's no amps on stage, and you're standing in front of the stage and all you hear is drums and like a vocal monitor. Terrible. This is a band that you could take and put anywhere. You could stick them in the rehearsal, in a garage, in a theater, in whatever. Throw some mics in front of them and they're going to sound exactly the same. And that's what I really liked about them. Now, I saw them twice, regretfully only twice, in 1 week. And it was last year during that Decibel Fest. The same week I saw them, they fit a show in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, the Tuesday prior. Like I said, this band works their ass off, and I think they might get overlooked because it's just a Virginia band playing a lot of the States. I know they play in Europe and stuff like that, but they're in the States and they work their ass off. They tour in a van. It's not easy, but they get up on stage and they play fast and hard, and I hate to say it, but they kick ass, man. They kick ass. I'm going to sound dicey here. I'm 2 minutes in, and I'm going to start showing records. But I was fortunate to see Power Trip with Riley. It was 2019's Psycho Fest, and I wasn't a big Power Trip fan yet because I wasn't really listening to thrash metal. I was still death and a lot more death metal, and still into this, really heavily into the stoner stuff and doom back then too. Power Trip came on and was awesome. They were a great thrash band. They delivered on everything that I had heard. To me, when I heard Enforced, it's a lot more vicious. That's the way I feel about it for My Chemical Makeup. I'm not comparing the two bands, but if you are a fan of Power Trip, you will likely be a fan of Enforced. I do not have the first record to show that, but I'm going to show the Kill Grid one. These are just Century Media releases, so they're I don't want to sound like an ass, but nothing super special as far as packaging goes. But these are the guys. Okay, as I understand, this gentleman here has left recently, and they have gotten another rhythm guitar player. Will, I think, is this guy here. I make it up in my head that I don't know, he's like seems to be the oldest of them just by, going to the merch booth and stuff like that. Seems like he might write a lot of this stuff. Again, I'm making this up, but just the way he's the guy standing at the merch booth, he seems like the guy that might carry a little bit more. Knox is the vocalist here. I love this guy's register. Big part as to why I like the band. His register is lower. He's a little bit more early mid Max Calvera-ish. And I get a lot of nostalgia from this band. I think they're doing it the best out there. I like the imagery of the band. Again, it's not pizza thrash. It's dark. Awesome covers. The lyrical themes are war, social environments, but not necessarily corny political stuff. Lyrics. Everybody takes pride in everything they do. The guitar leads are good. They're catchy. He plays the same leads live, so you could tell he writes them, or at least learns what he played. And both guys did do leads. I like the trade-offs, but I think Will might do a little bit more. Okay, this is Kill Grid. Like I said, there's not this. I think when my Spotify of 2023, like they do those wrap-up things. I listen to Spotify when I drive. Otherwise, it's tangible music. Said that I listen to Enforced more than any other band collectively. And that shocked me. It did. And I was like, wow, I guess Enforced is one of my favorite bands. So I bought all the records because it's the right thing to do. Anyway, do any of you know about this band? Do you overlook them like I did? This is the latest full length. It's still in the, I like to keep these, whatever you want to call it, hype stickers and bullshit. Another thing is they press these on 180, which is kind of nice. Great sounding records. Arthur Rizk, whatever the hell you say. He masters this and masters all these albums so they sound fucking fantastic. The guitar sound sizzles like a classic Marshalls, you know, or whatever. Guys. And again, this album, every song on it's killer. I don't know which one I like more. They're both equally really good. I think it just kind of where you come into them. This one might be your favorite. Kill Grid. To me, even though they're equally good, I gravitate towards Kill Grid a little bit more. And this is an EP they just put out. And I like bands that have tuning integrity. I mentioned this in the Deicide video. Deicides never sacrifice their tuning. They've been a band for 35 years, and all their death metal albums are at E flat. That's impressive to me. This band's also at E flat. They might be standard E, but I'm pretty sure it's E flat. I could be wrong, but whatever, half step. They're not tuned down. And there's no like bells and whistles in the band. There's no keyboards. There's no extra bass drops. There's no, you know, there's a little bit of thematics in the albums, you know, on Kill Grid. There's some rumbling or something like that in the samples between the songs. But this stuff is just, you know, primitive, old school thrash metal captured well. This EP has some new songs that have been released for a year or so. They kind of made a compilation of it. When I said tuning integrity, they do, they do Deadly Intentions by Obituary. And I grab my guitar because I keep one next to me, and it's at E flat. And I keep an acoustic to down tune it and see where the tuning is, whatever. It's standard tuning. They did an Obituary cover, but they did it in their tuning, which I thought was pretty awesome. And it sounds great. It's still heavy. But yeah, there's a couple of new tracks and a couple of covers on this EP. I don't know, it was like $17 or something like that. So, but anyway, great EP. Like I said, a few new songs, some covers, and they mushed them all together. So anyway, yeah, that's the video for today. Enforced. Check them out if you are like you got an itch for, like, you know, maybe if they didn't put Chaos AD out, which I don't like that record at all. I never did. When we got it, I was like, it's over. But if you would want to hear where maybe early Sepultura would have gone if they would have kind of stayed that route, the Demolition Hammer, that kind of, you know, not quite death metal, but more vicious thrash metal. So that's the video for today. Enforced. Go check them out if you haven't done so. I've seen them a bunch of times, and they slay it, man. Slay it. So, Enforced. Always. Show 666. Yeah.